Good morning and happy Wednesday, you guys. All right, so today I'm going to go over distributive property with variables, which is right behind me. Again, I'll be sharing my screen in a moment to show you the notes and also a couple of problems on the worksheet. So just so you know, there is going to be a part of this where you may need those integer notes as well. Again, those are on Google Classroom for you, so you do have access to them. Um, the same thing as with math number one for this one, if you really struggled with integers the other day, or you try again and it's just way too much, totally okay. You can again change as you enter getting some integers or negative numbers, you can change them to positive, and that's okay. I can work around the answer sheet for that. Um, that I Again, that's not the most important part of this. We'll kind of really dive into that next week or the week after, okay, in a much more simple way without variables and stuff. The most important part is making sure that you're getting that distribution today. The way that on Monday, it was mostly about evaluating and just being able to plug those answers in and know that it becomes 5 times 3, not 53. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to share with you our notes right here. Alrighty. So here you can see we have distributive property with variables. Okay. Now distributive property is when you multiply the outside number with each from the inside of the parentheses. Okay. So we have a couple of examples here that are all from your worksheet. Okay. And then we have about 4 steps. So our first example is right here, and that's what we're going to kind of walk through. It's a little bit it's a bit of one of the hardest ones that we have, but that's a really good way to kind of practice, and then I'll get a little bit more simplistic from there. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, as always, we're going to copy down the expression. Right? Remember, an expression doesn't have an equal sign, so that's why it's not an equation. Okay, so we have -6 times 9 minus 7, and this is a k. I know it looks a little bit like an r, but it's meant to be a k because variables are going to be lowercase. So notice that we don't have a number that this variable k is representing, and that's okay. What that means is that when we get to the very end, you're going to still have a variable and it's still going to be an expression. We're just simplifying it here. Okay, that's the point of distributive property. For example, if we did have a number that the variable represented, it's a much harder step from here than it is from where we'll be ending up. Okay, so again, -6 times 9 minus 7k. Close the parentheses. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take this outside number here, -6, and you're going to multiply it by the 9. So that's what I've written here in this second step here. We have -6 times the 9, okay? So that's the rewriting, distributing, or multiplying the outside number by each on the inside, okay? So we have -6 times 9. We're going to keep the subtraction sign here, okay? Because that's still what we're going to subtract by. And then we're going to take the -6, because you have to do it by both of them, and you're going to multiply it by that 7k. So we have the -6 here times 7k. All right. Now we're going to do our multiplying. Okay. We're going to ignore this subtraction here. We're going to bring it down here. Notice how the red is the plus sign. It's the next thing. So -6 times 9 is -54, following those integer rules, okay? If you get to this point and it's too much with those integers, that's okay. Just make this a +6, okay? So -54 minus, and then -6 times 7k, you are only going to multiply the -6 and the 7, and then just add that k on there. Okay, attach it to it. So just multiply the constant by the coefficient and attach the variable. So -6 times 7 is -42, and then just attach that k there. Now at this point, we're following subtraction rules for integers. So we're gonna keep the first number, change it, subtraction to addition, and change that to a positive number. So then we just write it nice and clean, negative 54 plus 42k, and that's it, you're done, okay? That's all you have to do. So I know that seems like a lot here, so we're gonna practice right down here with one that's a little bit more simple, okay? A little bit more straightforward. So again, start off by rewriting that expression, okay? Here we have 6 times 8 plus 4c, close the parentheses. So we're gonna rewrite with distributing that 6 being multiplied by each of those numbers on the inside. So 6 times that first number, the 8, keeping the addition sign, and then the outside number 6 times the 4c, right? Then we're going to multiply, all right? And you get 6 times 8 becomes 48. Keep the addition sign, and 6 times 4 is 24, and just attach that c onto it, okay? And then that's as simplified as you can get in that problem, right? So that's a little bit about how to use distributive property with those variables. This last one here uses a lot of negatives as well. Again, it's okay, and I'll show you in a moment when we look at the actual practice problems, to change these into positives if you need to, or addition problems. Because again, the most important part is you learning how to distribute that number. Now, I will say, typically what you see when you see distributive property is you'll see kind of this rainbow effect. People will draw a line like this, so this negative 6 times 9, and then take the negative 6 times the 7k. And that kind of shows you what you're doing a little bit, okay? And they call that the rainbow, but that's distributive as well, okay? So just keep look out for that. Sometimes that's helpful, and sometimes it's a little bit more hurtful for people, okay? So let's go ahead and take a quick look at our practice problems. Alrighty, here we go. Hold on. I messed it up. There we go. I gotta escape this guy. This one. I have too many tabs opened on my computer right now. Where'd it go? This again. Here we go. There we go. Alrighty. So we did this first one together. Okay. So we did number 1 together, and so we've done this one, ended up being negative 54 plus 42k. Give me a second here. Okay, and the other one we did is right here, which ended up being 48 plus 24c. It's a 4, believe it or not. And then the last one we showed was number 8 here, and that's negative 32 minus 20m, just so that you can kind of see that we've already done 3 of those problems, and you can write out each step. It's okay if you copy it down from a previous screen. I really just want you practicing writing down each of those steps and seeing where they're coming from. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll actually try to do, let's go with this one, number 4 here, okay? So we have 5 times negative 7 plus 3n. I'm going to show you how you can actually modify this one to make it a little bit more straightforward for you in case you're really struggling with those negatives and integers and all of that. So the first thing you're going to do, if you know, like, hey, look, it's a stressful day. I don't need to go back and forth through multiple notes. That's okay. You're just going to go through and I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to make this a +7. Okay, cool. So now I know this is positive. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it so that it's multiplying the outside by each on the inside. So 5 times 7, and then we're going to add that to the 5 times 3n. All right. Now we're going to multiply each of those on either side of that addition sign. So 5 times 7, you get 35. Keep the addition sign. 5 times 3 is 15. And since it's 3n, you're going to attach that n on. And then that's your simplified expression. Now, keep in mind, if you had kept this as a negative, your answer would just be -35 plus 15n. That's all it really does to change it. Some of them, it would change it a lot more, but just know that that's kind of what you're going to see there, all right? Okay, so that should be it for today. I'm going to leave this up for a second, just in case you want to pause it right here, write things down, double check things. Okay. Alrighty, so that's a little bit about distributive property with variables. I know it's the next level up from what you've done with Misty and Mrs. Gonzalez in 4th and 5th grade, but that's kind of the point. That's something you're going to see a lot of in math coming forward, all right? So please let me know if you have any questions today. I am going to school from about 9 to noon. So if you need to Zoom, I should be able to, but sometimes it's really hard. I know last week I just wasn't able to. There was a lot of people there. I mean, by a lot, I mean 2 or 3, as many as we can have. But making copies and stuff was a lot. Got to put those packets together. So just let me know, send me an email. Again, the videos are going to be really helpful. I'll walk you through enough. You should be able to follow those steps really clearly. And tomorrow we're going to go over inequalities and how to write them from a sentence into an expression. All right. So have a great Wednesday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right.